All right, next I'd like to invite another speaker from Long Beach. There's so many great ideas coming out of Southern California. Dr. Tolu Noah will talk about the example of personalizing mini lectures with live video, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Hello, everyone. My name is Tolu Noah, and I'm the Instructional Learning Spaces Coordinator at CSULB. And in this segment, I'm going to focus on how you can personalize your lecture videos and really add that extra touch so that students have that sense of instructor presence when they're watching your videos. So in terms of our agenda, we'll begin with the chat. I'll then provide a quick overview of some key ideas to be mindful of when creating mini lectures. I'll do a demo of what this could look like. And then after that, we'll discuss some additional ideas and resources. And my main outcome is that you'll be able to describe a strategy that you can use to personalize your mini lectures. So let's start off with a chat. And my question for you all is, which software or programs do you currently use to create your lecture slides and why? So take a moment just to share your thoughts in the chat. What do you use? Why do you use it? All right, Peggy says Google Slides so I can share them with students easily. Gabriella says PowerPoint because that's what you help with most often. Manpreet uses Zoom. And there's a lot of thoughts flooding the chat. So I'm mostly seeing PowerPoint and Google Slides. Alex says Prezi. Megan uses Keynote. Screencast-O-Matic. Okay, lots of really great tools that are being shared in the chat. And I think we all have our go-to tools for lecture creation, right? And I've personally used many of the ones that have been shared there. But one thing I'm really big on is using whichever tool will best serve my purposes. So in some cases, I may use Google Slides because maybe I want it to be more of a collaborative experience. But in other cases, I may use different tools. And the tool I'm going to be focusing on today is one that, let me see who said it. Megan mentioned in the chat, which is Keynote. Keynote is the Mac and iPad's version of PowerPoint, but it's much more versatile. I could honestly spend a year talking about all the things you can do with Keynote for teaching and learning. But today I'm going to specifically focus on one feature called live video, which allows you to add live video feed of yourself or your surroundings to your slides so that students can see both you and the content at the same time. So why am I focusing on live video today? Well, one of the concepts that Kevin mentioned earlier is the idea of creating reusable content or finding reusable content that you can use in your courses. So as we design flexible learning opportunities, we don't have to start from scratch and we don't have to increase our workload by constantly creating new content. We can do things like recording our live lectures and uploading them, or even pre-recording mini lectures, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. So specifically, I'm going to show you how you can use Keynote slides plus live video plus screen recording to create personalized mini lectures that students can watch at any time. I also wanted to talk a little bit about some guidelines to be mindful of when it comes to recording mini lectures, or sometimes referred to as micro lectures. And there's a great article in EDUCAUSE that was recently posted about the benefits of micro lectures and how it can promote active learning. The 4 guidelines that were shared in that article are that you want your mini lectures to be short. So we really want to keep it concise, less than 10 minutes ideally. You may even want to aim more for the 5 to 6 minute range. And they should also focus on just one key concept. So this requires us to really zoom in on what do I want my students to walk away with by the end of this really short recording. Third, we want to foster instructor presence. And typically that might be by including your video or face in some way in the recording. And fourth, and this is one that I think sometimes gets lost in translation, is interactive. So it doesn't just need to be a transmissive approach. We can definitely still incorporate active learning opportunities, even if it's in a recorded video. And so with that, we're going to transition to a demo of what this might look like. And I'm actually going to adopt an approach I saw used on Tuesday of going behind the curtain and kind of flipping back and forth between what it will look like from a prep perspective, but then also what it would look like from a student perspective. And for this demo, I'm going to situate this in the context of one of the courses that I used to teach. So in one of my prior roles, I was an associate professor in an undergraduate teacher education program. And one of the courses I taught was EDLS 200, Introduction to Teaching as a Profession. And of course, one of the most important concepts we talk about in that class is lesson planning. So for this demo, I'm going to imagine that I am creating a mini lecture for students about the topic of designing effective lesson objectives. And once again, you'll see me kind of switch hats throughout this demo. Okay, so here is one of the slides that I plan to use in my mini lecture, where I'm talking about some criteria students should be mindful of when it comes to designing their lessons. And I think I can definitely level this up by incorporating some live video. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my plus sign right up here, my media tab and live video, and automatically you can see me on the screen. And I can actually customize this further. So right now it's this rectangle shape, but I can change the mask to 4-3-2-3, square or circle. Circle is my personal favorite for this. I can resize it. And I can also adjust the style. So I can add a border. I can change the color of that border. And if I want to make it even fancier, I could add a little reflection at the bottom. Make this a little bit larger. I'm going to prop this up on my keyboard over here. So I've just added live video to my slide. And actually, let me do one more quick thing. I'm going to flip the orientation of this so it's a little bit easier to see. There we go. Okay, so I've done my setup. And now as a faculty member, I would be able to record this, do a screen recording for my students. So I'm going to take off my behind the curtain hat and put on my professor hat to explain what this might look like. Hello, students. In this video, we're going to be focusing on designing effective learning objectives. And two of the important criteria you should be mindful of are, first of all, you want to make sure that your objectives are student achievement based. So what that means is we want to make sure that we're framing our objectives in terms of what students should know and be able to do by the end of the lesson, not on what we as the teachers are going to be doing. And then our second important criteria is that we want our objectives to be measurable. That means that we need to have some way of assessing whether or not students have met the objective. So that might be the first chunk of my mini lecture where I am, doing that quick video recording about that piece. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of a timeout here before we go into our next piece. And in the research that I shared earlier, it talked about how we still want to incorporate active learning opportunities when it comes to our videos. And one really simple way we can do this is simply asking students to pause the video, to complete some sort of thinking or writing activity, and then to resume the video afterwards. So in this next chunk of my mini lecture, I'm going to have students complete an activity. I'll have them pause the video to do that. And then I'm going to use the built-in presentation drawing tools to review the answers afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my professor hat. I've got my video here already, and now I can resume my video. So based on what we just discussed in terms of the effective criteria to be mindful of, what I'd like you to do is pause the video for this next activity. You're going to read over the 9 different examples of objectives, and I'd like you to make a list of whether or not each objective is effective or not, based on those 2 criteria of it being student achievement based and measurable. After you've completed the activity, go ahead and resume this video, and then we'll go over the answers together. Okay, so we'll assume students have paused the video. They're now going to resume it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over the answers to these for this activity. So our first objective says students will be able to list the phases of the water cycle. This objective is actually effective, right? So it's student achievement based, focusing on what they're going to know or be able to do. And it's using a measurable verb, list. So I could easily see if they know this by having them write out the phases of the water cycle. What about number 2? It says students will be able to understand the major parts of speech in a sentence. This objective is actually ineffective. So although it's student achievement based, the verb understand is really hard to measure. So how do we know if students understand? Is it because they're nodding and smiling at us? No, we would need something more specific to measure that understanding. So maybe instead of saying understand, I want to replace that with the verb identify, because I could easily have them demonstrate that instead. Okay, so that might be the second chunk of my mini lecture. They've just completed that activity. We reviewed it together, and we're going to do one more quick timeout to talk about how with live video, you also have the ability to add multiple live video feeds to your slides. So I could have one video feed that's facing me, another video feed that's facing the opposite direction, And this gives you a lot of opportunities to make learning more engaging because you can show things that are happening in the room at the same time. You can interview someone that's sitting across from you. And you could even take your lecture on the road. So going to a different location and having students see both you and wherever you are at the same time. So for this last piece, I'm going to be using multiple live video feeds on the slide to show a concept. Right, and here on my desk, I have a handout about Bloom's taxonomy. I'm going to put my professor hat right back on, and let's say this is the third part of my video. All right, so one really helpful tool for developing objectives is Bloom's taxonomy. And with Bloom's taxonomy, there are 6 different levels of cognition, which include remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. And typically this is represented with a triangle where the lowest level would be remember, and it goes all the way up to the highest level of create. And this handout that you downloaded from the LMS is really great for creating objectives because it gives you concrete verbs that you can choose from that are measurable and will help you to make sure that your objectives are assessing exactly what you need. All right, so that might be the last piece of my video. And once again, that's a short piece where I'm focusing on one specific skill. I'm giving students an opportunity to interact, and I'm fostering instructor presence through the use of that live video feature. So now that you've seen that demo, I want to pause for a quick chat. And my question for you all is, what are the potential benefits of adding live video to your lecture slides? Feel free to share those ideas in the chat. All right, so Jen says, fostering connection with the material, demonstrating what students can do with the information, humanizing the content. Great ideas that are coming up in the chat. And I would just second what everyone has already said. So it does allow you to foster instructor presence because students can actually see you at the same time. You're able to demonstrate things in a way that you may not be able to if it was just a standard video. And the ability to interact with the content, I think, also makes it more engaging. I would also add that it reduces the need for a third-party app because I don't have to have another app to add my video, an app for my slides, an app for this, an app for that. I can do everything within the same app. And I saw some great questions coming up about what tools am I using right now. So I've been using the iPad, but live video is also on the MacBook. So if you have a Mac, you can add live video windows to your slides. Also, if you're using the Mac, you have additional options of not only adding your live video feed, but you could also add video feed from another tool. So for example, if I were presenting from my MacBook, I could connect my iPad or iPhone and show that on the screen at the same time that the content is being shown. With the iPad, a benefit that you have is you're able to use both the front and rear cameras, which is what you saw me doing with the dual live video windows. And then I also saw a question about what was I using to write on the screen. So in Keynote, it's a built-in feature called presentation drawing tools, and you can use either your finger or an Apple Pencil. You just tap on the screen, it brings up these temporary annotation tools, and you can easily mark up with that too. Great questions. And there's a question about Keynote for Windows 2. So Keynote is specifically for Mac, iPad OS, and iOS, so you can do it on your phone. So if you're using a different tool, like a Windows PC, you may want to use something like Loom, where you can put your video feed there while you're recording, but you may not have all the same, built-in annotation tools that you might have with an iPad. Great question. Okay, so here's some additional ideas for how live video can be used. You can use Keynote slides as a digital whiteboard. So you saw me kind of marking up as I was presenting. This could also be used to record a research presentation. So it makes it more engaging because you can put yourself on the slide along with all the different parts of your research and explain it that way. I think it also makes virtual conferences more engaging because instead of just seeing you in the corner of Zoom, you can make yourself, front and center on your slides and once again, interact with the content. And if your students are using iPads or MacBooks or iPhones, they can also create their own pre-recorded video lectures using live video. And then in terms of accessibility, there are a few things to consider. So Keynote does not automatically caption the videos that you create. So you would need to, consider some other options here. So one of which might be uploading the video to Kaltura or YouTube and then editing the captions there. Another really small tip that I like to share is if you have another device, like if you have an iPhone or MacBook, there's a built-in feature called Dictation. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just turn on Dictation on a different device, do my presentation, and the entire time that I'm talking, that other device is transcribing everything I'm saying. So all I need to do is edit the transcription and I can upload that along with my video. And then a third option is using a different app, another personal favorite called Clips. And Clips has a built-in feature called live titles, where as you're speaking, it's automatically captioning it. And it's super easy to edit those captions as well. So if you're interested in learning more about live video, I do have a one-pager that you can download, and I'll share the link to this in the chat. And I'm also going to share the link for what this would look like on a MacBook. And if you're interested in learning more, please feel free to email me at tolu.noah@csulb.edu, or you can connect with me on Twitter at Dr. Tolu Noah. Thank you.
Thank you, Tolu. What an amazing presentation. I feel like I'm overwhelmed with all the possibilities. Folks, keep the questions coming in the chat. Because there's been so much great content today, we are going to run a little over, but I want to make sure we give the full 15 minutes to our final speakers from Sacramento, Corinne Rowland and Dennis Dahlquist. So Tolu, if you would stop sharing, then we can help them get set up to go. And Corinne and Dennis, just let me know when you're ready, and I'm going to stop the recording while you do that.